Microcasting for your city. Talkapolis.
Bandwidth for today's show is brought to you by softlayer.com. We love Softlayer here at Talkapolis. They are the greatest hosting company ever. They make everything easy. Check out their website at softlayer.com. Thanks again for sponsoring the show. Also by Nashville Violins, the string player's #1 choice for their string instrument needs. Nashville Violins offers everything from lessons to repairs. Make sure you check them out at nashvilleviolin.com.
This is Music Business Week. Our guests, Evelyn Shriver and Susan Nadler. All right, ladies, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Now, you guys are really special in this town as a dynamic duo. You've been working together a long time. Tell us about when you first started working together and about the PR company and the early days of Nashville. What was it like?
Well, the early days of Nashville for me were in the 70s because I was married to a songwriter, and I came here in 1976 for the first time. Wow. So it was a whole different town then.
Yes.
It was, you know, I was married to a songwriter, and as Roger Miller said, people had the back porch mentality. You could just go up to any songwriter's place, have a cup of coffee or a drink, and write and talk, pick and grin. And it was really, you know, the first person I met when I came to town was Don Everly.
Wow. Where'd you meet him?
At the Loveless, where I lived.
Yeah. When did you meet Evelyn?
I met Evelyn in 1989. I had left Nashville years before and come back, and she was representing Randy Travis. And she had the biggest PR company in town. I had written books down in Key West and was not in the music business. And I was representing Tammy Wynette, who nobody else wanted but me, and then later Evelyn. And I met her and I thought, God, a single Jewish woman in the music business. Of course, she was married and not Jewish. But that didn't...
One out of three ain't bad, though. So you started working, when I met you in the 90s, you guys did have the most happening PR firm. You had all kinds of people. What kind of people did you represent?
Well, I had come down from New York to Nashville. Randy became my first country client when I still lived in New York. And in New York, I handled all kinds of things from, you know, people like Diana Ross and Larry Hagman and Linda Gray and television shows like, you know, Dynasty, and we introduced Entertainment Tonight and People magazine, so, you know, and the King Tut exhibit. So it was a very different kind of, you know, focus. And then I was just sick of New York, so I decided I wanted to go somewhere else. And I felt like it had to be an entertainment place for me to get work. And Randy Travis became my first client in New York, and then I moved to Nashville. Wow. And ran into Susan.
Yeah.
Because Tammy and Randy toured together.
And then during the time that you had Evelyn Shriver PR, you had a lot more. You had the Highwaymen, you had Willie Nelson.
George Jones, Tammy,
Christopherson,
Lori Morgan, Christopherson, Emmylou Harris,
Alan
Jackson, Travis Tritt.
And you gave the start to a lot of other female entrepreneurs. Women who worked for you guys went on, to, like Nancy Russell, to have her own.
Everybody really that worked with us went on to, you know, really good positions, you know, throughout the industry. A lot of radio guys, which kind of, you know, surprised me because radio was always, you know, the most difficult aspect.
A lot of promotion. A lot of guys who were publicists ended up going into promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys that basically hated the music to begin with, but nonetheless ended up going into radio, so maybe that says something about it.
What are the advantages of having a wing woman? You guys have worked together for so long and been partners and you're best friends. And
well, I think, you know, we're of an age and an era where, you know, it wasn't that many years before where, you know, not that many women were in the business, in any business. They were stay-at-home moms and housewives and, you know, a different mentality altogether. And I never really felt like I was discriminated against, you know, as a woman. But on the other hand, as a woman, I was aware in a lot of business situations that the rest of the room was always male. Yeah. And when I would travel on publicity tours or whatever, you know, that most of the other people were men. and in different kind of corporate meetings. And you know, that never really bothered me. But on the other hand, when you actually had a friend to hang out with,
Yeah.
and to go to the meetings and to have the extra strength and the backup, it was just much more fun. You can still do the job
Yeah.
by yourself.
Well, for me, I didn't know about business. I had written books and lived in Key West, a very artsy life. And so I had the enthusiasm and the love for the music, which I definitely still have. But I didn't know that much about business, and Evelyn was just a repository of information.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're very different personalities. I mean, Susan is very much in your face and persistent and totally unintimidated by who somebody might be. She doesn't care. She'll call them. She'll go to their house. She'll, you know, knock on the door. She'll make them pay attention. And she'll do that every day until they just break down and finally embrace her.
It's a good quality to have. And then you're
I'm
just
much more reserved. I'm very shy. I don't, you know, if I have a business thing to do, then I can do it, you know, and I can, you know, do what needs to be done, but I can't just kind of force myself on somebody. So together we were really good. She, you know, she can go after them and I can land them. You know?
That's so awesome.
She can land them too,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, vice versa. But it's much easier just to let her be the front woman and to call them and nag them and hang on and just like a dog with a bone. Sometimes.
Yes!
That was soundstage.
Yeah, which was a great gig for you guys. But before that, you were the first women to run a major label in Nashville, right? With Arista?
No.
Asylum.
Asylum, sorry, with
That's
Asylum.
okay.
And that was in the mid-90s? Late
The
90s?
latter part of the 90s.
And what, was that scary to say, okay, we're going to go from PR and we're going to run a major label now?
Well, I had been managing Laurie Morgan
That's right.
for a while, and so I didn't think anything was scary. I was just like, I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a great opportunity for us to, in some way, impact the dwindling music business. So, and we had great success. We got nominated for 2 Grammys for George.
Won 2 Grammys.
We won 2 Grammys, right. We won for George Jones on Cold Hard Truth, and we won for Emmy, Lou, Dolly, and Linda for the trio.
The trio album, I remember.
Maybe actually we won for Emmy and Linda, who won for the Western Wall.
No, I think it's a trio.
I don't think so.
To go back and check that out.
You can see we really care about those things.
But you guys had so much fun. It seemed like fun. I would go to the office and visit you, and it was really cool. I mean, it was really groundbreaking. Is it easier for women entrepreneurs now to run labels and stuff?
There's nobody, a woman entrepreneur, anywhere in Nashville, nary a woman, and there's hardly any labels left. I mean, you know, there's Sony, there's Warner Brothers, and there's going to be Universal, and that's it.
But you guys still own your own publishing company, and George Jones is your major. You own his catalog, basically, a big chunk of it. Oh,
No, we own a label that we're partners with George and Bandit Records.
okay.
And we own the master recordings, which is not the publishing.
We own the
we
last
have another
70.
we have another company with James House, which is publishing.
That's right. And he recently got a cut on the Mavericks' new album,
That's
Born
right.
to
Yeah,
Be
the,
Blue.
Exactly. Born to Be Blue was the Maverick single, which
Yeah. So you guys are still, I mean, what's the plan? Are you going to keep doing this for as long as you can, or is the music business changed so much that you're looking for other ways to be businesswomen?
Well, for me, I think that the music business has changed a lot. I think all the social media and things like what we're doing right here, it's a very different world for me to kind of get around and to understand or to really participate in. I'm not, you know, all that interested because, you know, I'm older, and but the music business is so much fun. It's not like, you know, a normal 9-to-5 job. You know, it's a really great time, and it's hard to really figure out where we fit in. But, you know, we're trying different things. In publishing, you know, I was a publisher before, and I had a lot of success with it. And, you know, it's closer, I think, to the old-timey business because you're still at a point of a song.
Right.
As opposed to these different ways of marketing.
Yeah.
But see, I mean, for me, it's the joy of listening to the music every day. I'm still happy as can be. And we were involved with a show called Soundstage that was an all-music performance show on PBS, and we booked all the talent. We booked about 100 and something shows for them, and that was a blast. We shot that in Chicago, and the producer Joe Thomas was really director was really talented, and he let us book kind of who we wanted to, and it was fantastic. And I think that he might be
reviving the
show.
That would be great. You could do that again.
I know. I just, I'm 65. I can't see what else there is to do. I'm not going to just retire. What am I going to do? I could go back to writing. There was a lucrative profession.
So favorite parts we went over. What are some of the less favorite parts of the jobs that you guys have had to do? What are
right now, my least favorite part is rejection. You sit in a room with these songs that you love, and you send them out to producers and label people. And, in the old days, people would tell you what they thought. You hear nary a friggin' word from anybody.
Really?
You can pitch, I bet I pitch 50 to 60 songs a week, and I hear nothing.
Are they not listening? Or
they listen, they're just busy, I guess. And it's a different, less conversational world. A lot less conversational. Everything's email, pass.
It's a different business, too. The whole business model has changed so much. I mean, with the labels, the way, as much as everybody wants to say social media will change the marketing of everything, the reality is that you still have to have a foot in each world of finding a way to make somebody take notice of something. I've just totally lost
It's hard. I mean, it's hard to... I look at these artists. It's changed so much since I came to town in '94. And looking at artists who are 25, moving here with this dream, it's hard to know really even how to advise them.
But now I remember where I was going with that. The reality is that, there is the social media world and all of these acts that are putting out their own music and how cool it is and this and that. But, and they might have 1,700 people who are following them, or they might have 398,000 people that are following them. But the reality is that they're not making a dime. So there's no money for the business person, and I'm the business person, not the artist, so I have to figure out how to make money. And all of these people that are out there in this virtual world having this huge success in their own kind of mind, it doesn't create enough money for me to participate in it. So I have to participate in the other world, which is now so expensive and so tight that there are things like 360 deals. Since the labels no longer make money, they need to take a piece of the artist for everything that they do. They're touring, their merch, their publishing, their writing, whatever that artist can make, they want a piece of that. So that makes it a whole different world in terms of pitching songs. People aren't looking for the greatest song necessarily. They're looking for a song that they can have a piece of, as I am. But they are too. So now, producers, they either have to deal with the artist writing the songs, which sometimes they're great and sometimes they're not. They want to write the songs too, because they want a piece of it. So by the time you get down to looking for just a really great song, maybe every album project is looking for one outside song. So that's your competition.
That's not a lot.
On a more hopeful note, I think in a way that all these guys that are coming here and writing with their friends seem to be going back more to the old days of playing songs for each other and hanging out. I mean, the young guys, Luke Bryan comes to town with Dallas Davidson or people like that. And it's hearkening back to days when I first got here when, people were looking for the best song. They didn't care who wrote it or who had the publishing.
So you are experiencing some of that. You think
I think that it's going back a little. We're just not a part of it because we're older and we're not part of a young group that's come into town and trying to, help each other out. But I think that that's going on, and I believe that the music business will redefine itself. The minute the executives figure out how to make all that money again, the music business will be back. And I think that it'll happen. People love music too much.
They do, but something really strange happened the day that they set the Napster or whatever, the free download as free instead of 10 cents.
No, the thing that happened was that Elliot Spitzer stopped payola. And that was the end of the music business, as we all know.
Was he forced to do that?
No, that was his gig.
Yeah.
He went
well, for those folks at home who don't know what payola is, what is that?
Pay for play. You play our song, we'll pay you. We'll either give you money or we'll give you a refrigerator.
That's what I wasn't doing right.
Right.
Nobody told me.
But I
take this
myself
cover?
have to say that I've had the greatest, most fun life and career in the music business that you could possibly have.
A lot of laughs.
A lot of laughs.
These guys are legendary on exciting tour buses across this great land of ours. For
Well, we've been able to hang with great, phenomenal artists. Tammy, Willie, Christopherson, George.
You were just at Farm Aid a couple days ago with Willie. He's still going strong. You guys have had. It's true. You've been involved in a really wonderful era of music. So much of what built country music. I mean, those are the artists who really.
Well, and every generation has its own people, and it's just it's the transition. When I came to town, I was taking the place of other people that had been there that were very successful, and there's constantly new blood, and particularly, when you're dealing with music, it's a young person's thing. Every generation has its own music. As much as we cling to, our things and say it was the greatest time ever, the next generation will say the same.
But you're right. All of these kids who are graduating from Belmont School of Music, there's so many people who want to go into the entrepreneurial side and the business side of music.
They want to go into the money side, and they're going to have to recreate the business in some way to make a lot of money.
Yeah. All right. Well, good advice. Thank you so much, Evelyn Shriver and Susan Nadler, the dynamic duo here of Music Row, for being on the show. And come back and see us, okay? Because you're just up the road.
Around the corner.
I'm Greta Gaines, and you've been watching Music Business Week right here at Talkapolis. Join us again next week. Microcasting for your city, Talkapolis.